Microsoft just did something that nobody really expected them to do, and I don't think a lot of people realize that this isn't a move that's just gonna send waves across the gaming handheld market, but also the PC gaming space in general. They have partnered with ASUS and will be bringing the Xbox Ally to market, running what they call the Xbox full screen experience. This is gonna get a lot interesting. Let the gaming operating system wars begin, and I'm all for it. Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video. Hey, what is going on, guys? Danny here. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you've all been doing well. For many years, gaming on Windows has started to feel like such a fragmented experience, and the problem became further exacerbated once the handheld market blew up and we got products like the ROG Ally, the MSI Claw, and the Lenovo Legion Go. What Valve showed us with the Steam Deck and SteamOS was that if you're looking for a lightweight system where the primary focus is gaming and portable gaming, then having just the adequate hardware is not going to cut it. What you need is an operating system and software that is built for seamless gaming. Building a handheld with enticing specs, a strong processor that has pretty good strong integrated graphics, and then slapping on Windows with some custom control panel or tweaks is just not going to work. Because at the end of the day, you're still running on top of a bloated operating system, which is going to be holding back the device in numerous ways, whether that would be gaming performance, battery life, and a smoother user experience. And now that Valve has made the SteamOS more accessible so that anyone who has a handheld console like a ROG Ally or Lenovo Legion Go can install a gaming-focused operating system and reap the benefits, it seriously exposed the pitfalls of gaming on Windows in this scenario. I'm sure most of you have already seen or heard about this video from a larger tech tuber known as Dave2D, and he showed how just running the SteamOS on his Lenovo handheld not only boosted his gaming performance, but also improved battery life immensely. It's the best of both worlds, higher FPS, and you get to enjoy your games longer. What's not to like about that? Then we also have other variants of SteamOS or similar sort of operating systems on the rise as well, like Bazzite OS, which essentially aims to do the same thing, create a gaming-focused experience for the user without all of that unnecessary bloat that plagues Windows these days. And a bloated Windows experience is something we'll talk more about later on. A lot of consumers these days, not just handheld console users, but people within the PC gaming space in general, have gradually started to look at alternatives to Windows because they just want an operating system that delivers a streamlined experience where they can simply just enjoy their games or consume the content they want without having to worry about ads being shoved in their face. Well, enter the Xbox Ally, Microsoft's partnership with ASUS to bring a handheld console that aims to do just that. Now, other larger YouTubers have already gotten a first look or have a hands-on experience content with the device, sharing information on the hardware itself, the specs, and the design. So I encourage you all to watch their videos if you're really interested in the device itself. What I mainly wanted to talk about was the custom Xbox operating system that Microsoft has built for the device that aims to solve a lot of the problems that many owners of Windows handheld devices have complained about, such as poor battery life, inferior performance compared to a similar device running something like SteamOS or Bazzite OS, along with how this will impact the overall PC gaming experience going forward. Ever since, I want to say when Microsoft launched Windows 8, a lot of people, not just PC gamers, but just users in general have complained that Windows has become a bloated mess, and stock Windows 11 took that to a whole new level. I remember the last time I tried using a stock Windows 11 install, like a retail Windows 11 install, and the experience was just absolutely awful. There is just so much unwanted crap that comes installed these days, just hogging up resources from my system, making the overall system feel so sluggish, and perhaps impacting performance in games as well. This is why on my test bench, where I do all the benchmarks for the channel, I run a copy of Windows 11 IoT, which is an enterprise version of Windows 11 that doesn't come with a lot of the bloat that Windows 11 retail comes with. But not only that, I use a website like Schneegens, which generates a custom unattended XML file, allowing you to further debloat Windows 10 or 11 right from the install process. So that way you can ensure it doesn't come installed with stuff like Bing or Cortana, Copilot, Recall, and all sorts of other bloated crap that Microsoft Microsoft is just trying to shove down your throat or harvest your data from. And after that, Windows 11 feels, so much more smoother and snappier to work with. It honestly feels like a totally different operating system. And if you're primarily using your desktop rig to game and still want to use Windows 11, I encourage you to do the same thing. But here's the thing, apart from my core audience, I don't really expect the average consumer to go to these lengths. I have friends who are PC gamers, but will never dabble into any of this tinkering. All they want to do is just press the power button and be greeted with some sort of menu or guide that has all of their games right there for them. It's why something like SteamOS is so appealing to the average consumer. And a lot of these OEM devices already come pre-installed with a retail copy of Windows along with some OEM applications and software. Now, not all of that is bad, and some of it is very useful, like the control center on the ROG Ally for tweaking the device's settings, for monitoring stats if you're into any of that. It's a quick and easy way that even the average consumer can quickly dabble into and configure the device and how they want to operate it. But it doesn't really solve the underlying problem that is all running on top of a bloated operating system. And it's why we have comparisons of people installing SteamOS or one of the other lighter variants and showing better battery life along with better performance. It truly exposed the problems with Microsoft Windows that it's not a one-size-fits-all type of answer. They're going to have to start getting serious and build something that truly caters towards gaming needs if they want the Xbox platform to succeed. We know that they're not doing so hot when it comes to actually selling console hardware, and Microsoft has envisioned that Xbox isn't just going to be your typical console box anymore, but it's going to be a whole gaming platform that's accessible throughout multiple devices. But in order to do that, you can't just integrate half-assed solutions and throw up some games in that god-awful Windows store and then call it a day. It's just simply not going to work. With the Xbox Ally, what makes this device actually unique and something to look forward to is because they're introducing something called the Xbox Full Screen Experience, which is supposed to be a stripped-down version of the Windows operating system primarily catered towards gaming. Microsoft actually put some of its veteran Xbox engineers, folks who have spent 20 years on the Xbox console operating system, onto the Windows team to reimagine Windows for a handheld gaming environment. The result, when you boot into this mode on the Xbox ROG Ally, a whole bunch of typical Windows processes simply don't load. No desktop wallpaper, no taskbar, none of the usual bloat or background apps that are relevant to playing any games. Microsoft even cut down the usual barrage of notifications and pop-ups you'd get on a PC. In other words, this special operating system mode strips down Windows to the absolute essentials, so your device can channel all of its power into gaming and not waste resources on the extra fluff. This is a pretty big deal because it tackles the long-standing gripe head on that Windows is too bloated and PC-centric for a portable device. As tech reviewers have noted in the past, a standard Windows 11 install on a handheld feels clunky. It's full of background processes and services, random update prompts, and a UI that's designed for mouse and keyboard and big screens. It's not exactly ideal when you want to kick back and game on a 7-inch device. Sleep mode could be unreliable, and on-screen keyboards were awkward, and you'd often need to alt-tab or tweak settings with a tiny touch interface. It's just very, very jarring. Valve SteamOS showed that there is a better way. SteamOS has virtually none of those Windows hassles. It's far closer to the it just works experience of a Nintendo Switch or a PS5. As one reviewer put it from The Verge, Microsoft clearly got the message. By optimizing Windows 11 specifically for handheld gaming, they aim to bring that console-like smoothness to the PC world. And here's my Nintendo Switch. One of the benefits I love about this device is its quick resume feature. I can put the device aside into a sleep mode, leave it for a day or even a week, and then I can come back and pick up exactly where I have left off. So as you guys can see, I'm turning it on. There you go. Twice, and there you go. I was playing Paper Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64 online mode. But that's really cool, right? You just can't really get that sort of seamlessness on a Windows handheld.
If you think about Windows devices, and it's not just this product here, but it's basically Windows laptops and anything that needs power management running Windows, it struggles with it. You put one of these devices to sleep or you suspend it and you think it's slept because the light's off, but the power just drains sometimes, and you can't reliably suspend in the middle of games on Windows devices. But on SteamOS, the sleep and it just works perfectly. You put it to sleep and it reliably goes to sleep, and overnight it'll drain like 1 or 2%, and then if you want to, days later you can start your system back up in the middle of a game and just resume playing. It's the way it should be.
Microsoft's actually had a feature like this on the Xbox consoles since they released the Series X back in late 2020, almost 5 years ago, but they haven't integrated something like this into Windows or for the desktop environment. And I'm not sure how much of a necessity it is on a Windows desktop environment, but on a handheld, it's an absolute essential feature, in my opinion, especially for those who are on the go a lot. Like, imagine you're commuting on a train to work, and you have your stop come up, you quickly put away your handheld device, and then later on your commute back, you take it out of your backpack or whatever, and you turn it on and you resume right from where you left off. But on a Windows handheld, you can't really do that. It's a lot more tedious, and there's more steps involved. Sometimes it doesn't work right. Sometimes it doesn't even go to sleep properly, and that actually hurts your battery life. Next thing you know, it's dead and you can't even play on your handheld console anymore. But with their version of this Xbox Windows operating system, I can totally see them implementing something like this, especially if the team behind it are the ones who have worked so deeply on the Xbox operating system. And here's where it gets really exciting, because while this initiative is being introduced through a handheld like the ROG Ally, Microsoft hasn't ruled out the possibility of bringing this streamlined operating system experience to desktops or traditional gaming PCs in the future. In fact, they've straight up hinted at the Xbox UI layer, or this gaming mode, could be expanded to other devices like the ROG Ally or ROG Ally X, and I highly doubt that stops at just handhelds. If anything, this feels like a test bed, and if the feedback is good, we may be looking at an early foundation of a Windows variant that's tailored specifically for gamers. And no matter what hardware they're using, hopefully the compatibility is very wide. And typically it is, knowing Windows and how much they like to expand their user base. And let's be honest, it's about time. For years now, desktop users have been complaining about the same issues handheld users have actually faced. Bloated services, background telemetry, Windows updates interrupting gameplay, weird driver level conflicts, inconsistent full screen behaviors, and the list goes on. The fact that so many gamers have resorted to using debloated ISOs, custom ISOs, registry tweaks, group policy hacks, or a niche version of Windows like LTC or IoT just to get a cleaner experience says everything you need to know. And more recently, we've even seen an exodus of frustrated users straight up jumping ship to Linux-based operating systems like Bazzite, Nobara, or Chimera OS, because they're getting tired of being treated like second-class citizens on their own hardware. And look, I get it, Windows still is the most compatible operating system there is for gaming. Anti-cheat support, modding communities, and game compatibility, it's hard to beat, but that doesn't excuse how bloated and user-hostile the default install has become, especially Windows 11. Copilot, Bing integration, ads in the start menu, background web services you didn't ask for. Nobody in the gaming community wanted this. We're not using our rigs to check recipes or AI-generated grocery lists. We want power, performance, and stability. That's it. For me personally, performance is the big thing, and I'll probably be making a video about this in the future with some included testing, but an unoptimized stock retail Windows 11 install compared to a debloated install can make a huge difference, especially for frame time stability. So, if Microsoft is finally waking up to that, even if it took Valve's SteamOS and the Steam Deck to scare them into action, I say bring it on. The idea of booting into a clutter-free and full-screen Xbox-style launcher on a desktop gaming PC is actually incredibly appealing. Imagine turning on your rig and instead of being dumped into a cluttered desktop or having to dig through launchers, you're immediately in a clean console-like interface that shows you all of your installed games from Steam, Xbox app, Battle.net, Epic Games, all of that, wherever. Zero bloat, just games. And, I would love to actually have something like that on my home theater PC/OLED gaming rig, because that is strictly what I use it for, just consuming entertainment. Whereas my personal editing rig, yeah, sure, I like to use that on sort of like a traditional desktop environment. And, if they bake this into regular Windows builds and let users opt in maybe during the setup, or as a toggle into settings, that could solve one of Windows' biggest criticisms in years. Make it optional, make it modular, and let the user decide how they want Windows to behave based on their machine's purposes. If it's a gaming rig, don't treat it like a productivity or school laptop. Treat it like what it is, a damn gaming console with more power and flexibility. At the end of the day, it's still Windows, right? So all your other apps, mods, and customizations that you want to access will still be there if you want them to. Another angle worth considering is how this could affect pre-built gaming PCs, especially entry-level systems from brands like HP, Dell, Lenovo, and even boutique builders. These machines often ship with OEM bloated Windows installs, filled with trialware, telemetry, McAfee pop-ups, and unnecessary system overlays. For casual buyers who don't know how to clean up or optimize their rig, this creates a sluggish and clunky experience from day one. It's why there is such a bad reputation of Windows compared to something like, Mac OS that Apple users love to gloat about. If Microsoft made this Xbox experience available to OEMs building pre-built desktops, it could become the default operating system layer for plug-and-play gaming systems, especially, merging with console simplicity for PC flexibility. This could be a massive win for the mainstream crowd as well, who just want to buy, boot, and game. That's it. This Xbox full screen experience may have been designed with handhelds in mind, but if Microsoft plays their cards right and listens to desktop gamers who have been begging for a leaner, faster operating system variant, this could be a start to a serious redemption arc. And with competition heating up from Valve and from other Linux gaming distros, and from a community that's more informed than ever, they don't really have a choice anymore. Look, I know for this past decade, it feels like everyone has been dogging on Microsoft for fumbling Xbox and this multi-platform vision they've had. And you know what? In some ways, they do deserve it. And we've heard this story before that we're going to do X and Y for gaming on Windows, and then what they put out is just absolute garbage. But I'm honestly rooting from them here because if you're a consumer who wants to enjoy as many options, better value products, and innovation, that you should be yearning for this kind of competition, because this move by Microsoft is a direct result of that. And hey, I've been using Windows since I can remember, and it would be pretty sad to have to leave this entirely and move away from it because it just went off the rails with unnecessary nonsense and all this tracking garbage that they just want to implement. At the end of the day, though, this could be a wake-up call that Microsoft desperately needed to finally take gaming on Windows more seriously and to the next level that users will actually appreciate. Whether you're gaming on a handheld or a full-blown desktop rig, a more focused, gaming-focused, and flexible operating system experience benefits all of us. Now let's just hope they actually follow through with it, execute it properly, because the potential here is huge. As for now, that's going to be wrapping it up for this one, and we'll be touching base in the next video. If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.